I've been having back-to-back outreaches for eye screening. I have some lessons to share with you about my previous outreaches. If you're seeing me for a first time, I am Mercy, an ophthalmic clinical officer, your eye health educator. I give information about eyes. Sorry about the background noise. It is my puppies that are, can I say, crying, barking. It's my puppies barking. They are aware that I've just reached home and they just want some attention. Otherwise, anyways, today's video, I just want to share my experience in the field with you. As I said earlier on, I'm an eye clinician and I work in Uganda. Today, I want to share with you my experience in the field of outreaches because I've done a lot of community outreaches, especially in the rural areas, rural setting. I'm speaking with respect to the rural setting. And perhaps if you find that this that I'm going to share does not happen in urban settings, yeah, don't worry. What I'm discussing is rural setting basically. And here are some of the lessons that I have learned throughout the outreaches that I've gone in the rural settings, screening community members for eye diseases. And I found these experiences as very common and familiar to the different communities that I've been to. Experience number one. In the rural setting, everybody does not really care much to seek eye care from a hospital setting even when they are aware of the availability of these services. Somehow, I don't know why, because the educated and the uneducated are the same. They have poor eye health seeking habits. Rich or poor, they are all the same. They have poor eye health seeking habits in the rural setting. I've said the rich, I've not spoken about the wealthy. The rich is like middle class, all are the same. They don't seek these eye services. That one I've noticed. It is my point of view. If for you, you seek the eye services, no problem. But this is what I've realized, and this is what I have to back up with. Now, while doing the screenings in the community, we always refer these patients to the hospitals nearest to them for further management. But to my surprise, these people never turn up. All they do is stop at the level of the outreach. Whatever medications they've been given, they never really go back for reviews. The next time you will see them again is when you show up for the next outreach. This is very common with both the educated people and the uneducated. I don't know whether it's stubbornness or just that is the attitude we've grown up like that. Or could it be that because some eye conditions are really painless that people don't care at all? Another thing that I've learned is that the rural communities, people staying there are not really willing to spend on their eye health care. Yeah. Why am I saying this? During our screenings, we saw patients who needed surgical intervention. It's not really that some of these people cannot afford. But some can. Some really can afford these services, but these people want totally free services. They are not willing to contribute to their eye health. Why am I saying like this? We came across a good number of people who had cataracts, people who had squints that needed surgical intervention, people with ptosis. Yeah, both children and adults. For that case of children, I may not have much to say because young people, they cannot afford to pay for their own bills, medical bills. But I'm speaking about the adults that we've seen in the field. Yeah, somebody has a cataract, has children who are able to pull resources together for a cataract surgery. A cataract surgery in Uganda, it may cost from, depending on where you're going to do the surgery from, which hospital, but it may cost from around 150,000 per eye to about 600,000. Remember, I have said depending on the hospital or facility where you're going to have the cataract surgery done, you may have to pull about 150,000 per eye to about 600,000 per eye. So looking at that, at least it covers for the range of the different classes of people, whether you're a poor person, middle class person, the wealthy, at least you have somewhere where you can go and have this service done and you restore your sight once again. But to my surprise, most of these people, when you screen them and identify that they have mature cataracts that may need surgical intervention, they are not willing to pay any money or pull any resources towards that cause. And whenever they see community eye health outreaches, they assume everything should be totally free. However, these community outreaches are targeting at early diagnosis of eye diseases and early intervention. So these outreaches may not necessarily be able to fund the treatment of every person identified in the community with eye problems. So we basically look at early diagnosis and early intervention management. So when you're diagnosed with an eye problem that needs a certain intervention, if it is drugs, there are certain drugs that the outreaches are able to provide, and then there are those that we are not able to provide during the outreaches, and therefore you may need to spend your own resources to purchase these drugs. So another thing, number three, that I have learned during the screening, some people really don't have passion and compassion for the elderly and the poor. And to make it like not caring at all, these people actually even don't want to line up to get these services. They come, they bypass these poor old people. They want to walk straight and see the medical workers in the field and walk away and be given everything that they need, and they just walk away, leaving this poor elderly woman or man or child there. Now, let me share my own point of view about these outreaches that we do in the rural areas. These outreaches are targeted at extending services to the poor people who cannot afford transport, who cannot afford finances to reach out to places where they can get the services. Most of our hospitals that provide eye care are located in the urban areas, which are a bit distant from the rural areas. So, organizing these outreaches in the rural settings or in the down health facilities is basically looking at extending services to these people who are not able to reach to the urban areas where these services can be good. So if you who is able to afford these services, you still come and sabotage these services from the rural poor, the elderly, those people who are really not able. It does not feel good. That is my own point of view. It does not feel good. However, when we come to the field to do screening for eye problems, even if you are rich middle class, you can come and have that service, have the screening done, but as a way of giving back to the community. Yeah, you may request that we just write for you your medication or write for you whatever you need to do for your sight to improve, and then you go and buy it for yourself. It's like you also helping to give back to this rural person who cannot afford. Doesn't it look nice if we do it that way? It's a question. Let me know in the comment section. Have you ever experienced this kind of thing? That some people really, you really look at a person, there's what we call a blanket sign. Yeah, a blanket sign, you're just looking at the ability of the person to afford by just judging on the look, on the appearance of this person. You're able to tell that this one can afford this kind of service. So I am talking generally to everybody anywhere in the world that if such services are coming to your community targeting the poor, instead of being somebody who takes away from them, can we join hands and be people who can bless this? These elderly people, the poor people who cannot afford, sometimes some of them are disabled, sometimes some of them are orphans who are being raised by guardians and maybe they are not having all their needs being met. So when you have an outreach in your community, let's not only mind that it's an outreach that has come to give free service, but also let's look at the real essence why these outreaches are brought to the rural communities. A lesson that I learned again in the field. Yeah, most of the people living in the rural areas are very ignorant about eye care. Let me share with you just a shared scenario. During our third day of our screening, I overheard this conversation between Mother A and Mother B. Both of these ladies had brought their children for eye screening. They had problems with their eyes. Mother A had a child with itchy eyes, and Mother B also had a child with itchy eyes. So, this Mother B explains to Mother A that my child also had those eyes that are very red, itchy, they're out of color, and I didn't know that they had thrown bones in my child's eyes. You know, this bone issue, it's like let me not say witchcraft, but magic. Like there are people in the community that throw bones or any kind of item into a human being's body. It is a belief in our community. Actually, in most of African communities, it's a belief that magic can be done and somebody can throw any item in any part of your body. It could be the eye, the head, the back, the stomach, that they can throw that item using magic and it stays there and gives you a lot of discomfort. So these ladies, Mother A and Mother B were having that kind of conversation, and somehow Mother B was convincing Mother A that her child could have been thrown bones in the eyes. That's why the eyes have turned red, they are itching, they are painful. So I listened to this conversation and I was really wondering, surely can a bone exist in somebody's eye? Can maybe a bottle exist in somebody's eye? A safety pin, can it really exist inside the eyeball? First of all, the size of the eyeball is very small. So where does this item sit? But this is a belief which is in the community, and usually parents take their children to the witch doctors or the sorcerers to have these assumed items removed from the eyes, and then they put their herbs and they claim they have healed the child. These are the two mothers who have brought their children for eye screening, but in the back of their head, they have this belief in their subconscious mind that this could not be any medical condition, but it is a satanic condition. So you can see what is going on in our community. That's why we are having a lot of use of traditional eye medication in our communities. So we still have a lot of work to do as far as sensitization, creating of awareness is concerned. I'm privileged you're listening to this video. Maybe you've also been believing that kind of magic. Let me know in the comment section below. What does your community say about that? What do your rural people talk about that kind of magic, where they throw bones and whatever in a person's eye and it stays there and it has to be removed using magic and use of traditional eye medication? Why I'm mentioning this kind of ignorance and use of traditional medicine has costed us a lot, as governments, they are spending a lot of money in the treatment of procuring equipment for treatment of these conditions that are caused by use of traditional medicine, especially like fungal, corneal ulcers. They can come about because of use of these traditional eye medicines, and this kind of ulcer is not easy to be treated. It really takes long to heal, and it can leave a very bad scar on your eye, or even because of that bad scar, you can go blind. Yes, because those are the communities where we grow up from. Before, when you're a child, that's what is instilled in you. You believe in them, and as you grow, it becomes a bit difficult for you to erase that belief system unless you really put efforts and listen to the right information about your beliefs so that you get rid of your beliefs. I just want you to understand that being ignorant about these eye diseases, about eye information, is still there in the community. So our communities need a change. Another thing that I learned in the field, that parents sometimes really don't care about the eye health of their children. Sometimes our children get serious eye problems, but we tend to relax and let it be. You know, children are not like adults who will always bother you about their problems. As long as they feel a little bit fair, they will always play around, and you may assume that they are very fine because they are playing, they are eating. But children always get serious eye problems that parents ignore, and then these problems cause our children a lot of complications and even may cause them to lose their sight at that early age. Let me share this other story. During the screening, I came across a mother who had brought her child with a white spot on the left eye, and this spot appeared about a year back when that child was just 1 year. And she gave me the history of about how that spot came about. She says that The child was playing with a handmade toy. You know, in African setting, our children always make their toys, and this child had made a toy out of a stick and wrapped some item on the stick to pull and drag it as a car. So in the process of dragging this stick as a car, the stick pierced the eye. It actually got stuck on the ground and pierced the left eye of the child. So when that incident happened, the mother never took the child to the hospital. They instead managed this child at home with traditional eye medication, and that the child healed later on by God's grace, let me say that, and the child got fine. But this left the child with a very bad scar and a traumatic cataract. So we are seeing this child 1 year after the incidents during the outreach. But when you look at the distance between this mother's home and the hospital where there is an eye health worker who is me, it is not really too far. It may cost about 3,000 Ugandan shillings to reach the hospital. But this mother never came. I don't want, my own point of view is that maybe this mother actually did not just come, maybe because of, she felt it's okay. This was a child and couldn't really say much. So she never just came. Can I say she was lazy? Was the father lazy as well? But it's always a common thing that parents do when it comes to eye problems with children. The child will always pick the problem, but the parent ignores. The parent does not really care. The child may be struggling. It may not be trauma. The child may be struggling with maybe seeing certain items clearly at home or watching TV too close, you cannot see when it's far, but the parent ignores, just lets the child be. So sometimes we parents, we have to be very inquisitive about the behavior of our children, because actually most of the eye problems with children can be noticed by the behavior of the child, and then also by the appearance. You just look at the eye and you see that the eye has a problem. Sometimes it may be, you may know that the child has a problem when the child complains to you. Maybe says, Mama, my eyes are paining, my eyes are like this or like that. So those three things are very important to us as parents. Let's look at how our children's eyes are. We may tell that they have a problem or not. Let's look at the behavior of our children. There are a lot of behaviors that children exhibit, even if it's not trauma to the eye. Sometimes children who don't see well, they may prefer to be sitting in a certain position in the house or while watching TV. They always have that spot that they want. When you try to change them, they don't want to be changed. So we look at all those behaviors. They could be speaking a lot to us as parents that I have a problem. But when we ignore them, we let them be, later on the children get complications with the eye. So that's what I had to share with you today. If you've loved this video, give it a like. Also leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.